and it's 6:35 right now, and I think we will start the session for today. Thank you very much once again. We'd love to extend a warm welcome to everyone who has made an effort to join the Easyship partnership webinar today here on Shopmatic. We bring to you a masterclass speaker, Zach Tan, who is the country director of Easyship. He brings with him extensive experience in the logistics and shipping industry. And he really does believe that cross-border sales is something that most, if not every SME can actually aspire to and actually achieve and grow the business in e-commerce. He is here to share more about what is actually happening in that particular space, as well as give us some trends of what's happening in the e-commerce space in 2020 itself, given that we are facing an extraordinarily unprecedented kind of year in 2020, and what its impact has been on the economy as well as e-commerce. So thank you so much, Zach, for joining us today for the webinar. Before we hand it over to Zach to start his presentation, there are some simple house rules that we'd like everyone to follow, just to make sure that we are having a very seamless and effective webinar today. We would request everyone to use the Q&A channel that is visible to you in your panel at the bottom to raise any questions that you may have of Zach and his team, and they will answer all the queries that are raised in the Q&A channel. If not during the session itself, they will certainly be addressed at the end of the session. We have specifically allocated some time for Q&A to make sure everyone's queries are answered. If there is anything which is not pertaining to the specific topic at hand, please use the chat channel to chat with the panelists, and the Shopmatic team is also available to respond to your queries on that. But if it is anything pertaining to the topic today, we would encourage you to and urge you to raise it on the Q&A channel. Having said that, I'd like to hand this over to Zach to start his presentation. Zach, are you able to share your screen now?
Yep. So hi guys. So I think Umar, you have to stop sharing your screen first.
All right, fantastic. Yeah, there you go. Are you able to share now?
All right. All right. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. So hi guys, I'm Zach from Easyship. So some of you guys who might not know what Easyship is, we're actually a price aggregator for couriers. So we actually provide you guys with technology and rates itself to make shipping easier itself. Okay, so today I'll be talking about how to grow your cross-border sales. Right, so here are a few things we will cover today. So one, it's like the trend, the buying trend in 2020, and how technology would be able to help you to, to ship internationally itself. Right, and what is most important in building a competitive shipping policy, and then lastly would be our approach to those itself. Right, so as many of you guys know, like COVID is actually affecting businesses worldwide, but I would say like for e-commerce itself, COVID is actually giving it a boost. So a lot of clients or a lot of buyers, they're actually purchasing online instead of going to the physical brick and mortar store itself, right? So it is good for e-commerce business, but however, there is a lot of effect in terms of, like there is not enough commercial flights and stuff like that, which would actually affect your shipping to your clients itself. Right, so here are some trends which we have noticed during this COVID period, right? So it's both for both markets in India and Singapore. So we actually segregated it based on categories. So you can see a huge growth in terms of health and beauty. So there is a 22.7% growth in terms of that. And for Singapore, you can see that there is a huge growth for electronics as well, right? So I think a lot of, people in Singapore, they are buying electronic products like Switch and stuff like that to keep themselves entertained at home. And as you can see for India itself, there is a huge growth in terms of home decor and appliances. So I guess you tend to realize, like a lot of consumers, when they stay home for a longer period of time, they want to buy more stuff to make their house look more comfy and stuff like that. So I would say like COVID actually affected a lot of buying trends. And then you can see like the dip in buying trends is actually sports and leisure, because a lot of us, we are unable to go out. So then therefore there is no need for such stuff at all, right? So as you can see, like for Singapore, there is a huge growth for bags and luggages. So I guess like a lot of Singaporeans, you know, they're waiting for the lockdown to be over and then they want to start traveling again, right? So like it is very good to use this to your advantage, to know what the market trends are and how you can actually capitalize on it. All right, so there is 3 pillars to scalable distribution. The first one is that you need a multi-courier network. So what I mean by multi-courier network is that you should not be relying on only one courier partner for all shipments itself, right? So for example, like you don't rely on SingPost for domestic and international. You might be able to rely on different couriers. Like for example, domestic, you want to rely on Ninja Van. And then for international shipments, let's say to Southeast Asia, you want to use Aramex. For shipments to US, you want to use FedEx, or for shipments to Europe, you want to use DHL, right? So this is a good way to select, you know, which is the best shipping alternative and which providers actually provide you with the most competitive rates in the market, right? The next step is actually having integrations and smart automations. So what this does is that, you know, when you start to have more order, then definitely you are not able to do it manually, right? Like writing all your orders down, you know, packing all your orders and writing it. So that would be a hassle. So this is where automation and integration comes in to actually ease the pain on that and to save man hours. And lastly, you would require a global fulfillment if, let's say, you're doing up to scale, right? So what global fulfillment does is that you can have fulfillment centers in the US just to service the US clients if you have a good number of clients in the States itself. Right. How can technology help you to go global? Right. So there is different kind of technology and apps in the market currently, right? So like for marketing, a lot of sellers, they'll just go to Facebook, to Google, to Instagram to try to get their market share, right? So TikTok is one of the newer option where a lot of people use it to gain awareness, brand awareness, right? And then there is another sort, which is like prototype and testing. So Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and GoFundMe, they are pretty good in terms of you have a new concept, you want to test the market, you want to know how receptive the market is, right? So I think this is a pretty good platform in terms of how you want to pre-launch a product and to test how well it receptive it is in the market itself, right? Lastly, you know, accessibility in terms of like translating the website or to offer local currency as a payment method would be pretty much a plus for most buyers online as well. Right, so efficiency as well. You know, with so many technology and different payment gateways, some payment gateways like PayPal, Stripe, you know, they provide your clients with different payment methods available. And there is different e-commerce platforms right now. So you can use Shopmatic, and then if I'm not mistaken, you can actually connect Shopmatic to different marketplaces, local marketplaces like Shopee, Lazada, and so on. So you are able to actually expand and scale in terms of having a multi-channel sales. And then lastly, you do have like Xero and stuff like that, and Just Works to actually to help you with your finances. Right. So for distribution itself, there is different ways. So for most of you guys would have heard of FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. So what it does is that you basically store your product in the Amazon warehouse and they fulfill it for you. Or alternatively, you know, we do have clients or we are promoting like multi-location warehouse where you can actually have one in the US to service the US market, have one in the Europe to service the EU market itself, and then have one in Singapore or Hong Kong to service APAC or the rest of the world, right? So this actually gives you a more competitive edge in terms of shipping prices to your buyers itself, right? So lastly, there is different sort of shipping software available in the market, such as Easyship, FedEx, and maybe DHL direct integration as well. right? So multi-courier network, what multi-courier network does is that, you get to choose different delivery lead times. You get to select based on the tracking quality. At the same time, you get to select based on the pricing itself, right? So, you can actually take a comparison, for example, with UPS, DHL, and FedEx, let's say from Singapore to the US, who ships the fastest and who provides the best pricing itself, right? So it's always good to give your clients the choice for their shipment itself. Right, so for integration, what it does is that you are able to link to multiple platforms. You're able to sync your inventory, and you're actually able to leverage on AIs to develop cross-border shipping strategy, right? So because it reduces like manual tasks, it actually optimizes, your workforce itself, whether is it like a startup business or your operation team itself, right? And then there is documentations provided together with it. You're able to calculate taxes and duty. So it is pretty good in terms of knowing what is the potential taxes and duty for your buyers itself. Right, so like I mentioned early on, for global fulfillment, so ship from multiple locations, why is it good? It's that you can actually identify which is the best location to ship or fulfill your orders itself. It actually gives, your buyers like a peace of mind through tracking. And at the same time, we can actually identify which is the cheapest solution, right? So for example, you have a buyer in Canada, you have a fulfillment house in the US, and then you have a fulfillment house in Singapore, right? So it is definitely cheaper and faster to actually ship from the US to Canada itself than from Singapore to Canada. So this is how you can actually take advantage of having multiple locations on your for your warehouses itself to ship to your end users or end buyers. Right, so building a competitive shipping policy itself, there is a few things you need to take note. The first is, you have to be more customer focused approach, right? So what I mean by customer focused approach is that it is best to provide the best alternative or the most value for money alternative for your clients. It is always better to exceed their expectations, to get brand loyalty and then to deliver them real value itself, right? So like, I mean, by default, most of the sellers, what they do is that they would usually just prefer the cheapest option to the clients, right? So that is a mindset, whereas cheap is good. But the thing is that nowadays clients want option. They want to have different alternative in terms of selecting what they can use to ship. Right. So the next thing is to understand cart abandonment. So you have to know what is the reason why your buyers are actually dropping the cart, right? So this is actually a stats shown. So 25% of them would actually drop it based on the item price is too high. 27 would actually just want to compare the shipping price itself. And 45% actually drop off because of shipping and handling costs, right? So like shipping itself would actually turn some clients away because they didn't expect that the shipping cost would be so high. Right, so how to actually combat this issue itself? It's to show all costs upfront. Okay, sorry. It's to show all costs upfront. Provide free shipping if possible, and at the same time, you can provide options to save the items which they want to purchase. Provide service details, and at the same time have a safe checkout, right? So like I think with PayPal, Stripe, and all these platform partners itself, they would provide you with a safe checkout platform. Right. So thirdly, it's to give customers the perception on to save on shipping, right? So sometimes you might not be able to offer free shipping for every purchase, simply due to the fact that the item does not cost there is not enough margin on it to actually have free shipping, right? So, but you should always make it an option, to offer free shipping at some point of time. So for example, you can set like a comfortable threshold. So for international purchase, if let's say purchase is above $150, you can actually offer free shipping or discounted shipping, right? So this is in a way to actually absorb your shipping costs and to provide clients with attractive alternative in terms of purchasing more. So for example, I do have a client who provides free shipping above $100, but everything in his store is actually $99. So most of his clients would actually purchase the second item, which is at $99 as well, to just get that free shipping. So this is actually to convert and to actually attract your clients to buy more if the threshold is actually reachable itself. Right. So this is some example of using shipping as a marketing strategy. So for example, in ASOS itself, they do like free 2-day delivery if let's say you purchase above 1,005 Hong Kong, which is 200 Sing, right? So this is a good way to actually attract buyers in terms of clicking on your link to have a look at the products and then to know that there is offer on like free shipping itself. Right. So lastly, you have to be a smart shipper, right? You have to understand the behavior and preference of your clients. What is your current customer's profile? Who are you targeting? And why are they buying from you or not buying from you, right? So this is some example in terms of how you want to provide your solutions or services to your client, right? Have a good product, either provide like free shipping or fast delivery, or you can provide like sales and promotion, right? So I mean, like, you have to select what works best for your product. If let's say you're selling a very affordable product like $50, then it is pretty hard to get fast delivery, fast international delivery, and free shipping at the same time, because simply due to the fact that your profit margin is not there. So it really depends on what sort of products you're dealing with. If let's say you're dealing with more luxurious product, it is very important to provide good customer service, ideally free shipping and fast shipping, but it really depends on how you can actually maximize your product and how you can actually use it to attract buyers on your store itself. Right, so this is some of the thing where based on the survey, this is how clients react based on the region itself. So for US and UK, like they have the same concern, right? Their main concern is actually logistics. Reason why they shop overseas is based on the price or goods that they can't purchase. Whereas for China and Southeast Asia, logistics is a concern, payment is a concern as well, and price is a concern as well, right? So like for China, price doesn't really matter when they shop overseas because most of the stuff actually manufactured in China. So the only reason why they would actually shop overseas is to actually purchase a foreign goods or foreign brand itself, which does not really, which they can't get it in their country. Right, so our approach to all of this, right? So what Easyship does is that we provide real-time shipping rates. At the same time, we show real delivery times. And at the same time, if let's say your client, would like to pay taxes and duty, we do provide a guaranteed taxes and duty option as well. Okay, and there is up to 250 different shipping solutions available on our platform for both the local and domestic included. All right, so for dynamic checkout, so what does dynamic checkout do? It's that dynamic checkout is actually pretty useful. I would say it's the most useful tool ever. So previously, like if let's say you have started e-commerce way back in the days, you have to actually key in the rates manually. So what dynamic rates checkout, dynamic checkout do, it's that you do not have to key in any more rates. All you have to do is just install the plugin. When your buyer keys in their address or postal code itself, they would be able to see up to 3 different options, or maybe 4 options in some cases, based on cheapest, most value for money, fastest, and prepaid option involved, right? So you do not have to actually key in the details of individual courier company, how much does it cost, what is the weight, and stuff like that. Dynamic checkout actually does everything for you. So simply just key in your postal code and you would be able to see what are your shipping options available and what is the cost. Right. So one more feature we have is actually link your own courier account, because we understand that, for certain businesses, they do get really competitive rates from the providers itself. Right. So what happens is that we allow you to link your own account. So for example, if you have your own FedEx, DHL, and UPS account, you can actually link it on Easyship. The rates will still be shown on checkout. And at the same time, you can actually compare who is actually providing you with the better deal itself, right? So for example, we do have clients who thought that their account with one of the providers is actually very competitive. But once they link their account on Easyship, they can actually do a direct comparison, and they found out that it is not as competitive as what they thought it would be. Right. At the same time, we do provide you with product listing. So what product listing is, you can link your Shopmatic store, input your products itself. So what it does is that it actually provides you with accurate rates upon checkout, right? So because I know it is a hassle to many sellers, but then if you don't do this, our system will not be able to calculate the shipping rates accurately. And sometimes this would actually cause the difference in terms of shipping itself. Right, so how do you link your Shopmatic account? Well, linking your Shopmatic account is actually pretty easy. All you have to do is just copy the token onto your Shopmatic page itself, and basically it's connected. Right, so as I mentioned, rates at checkout, right? So these are the options we provide upon checkout: cheapest, fastest, best value for money, and prepaid taxes option. So it is available on Shopmatic, and as well as other platforms which we have integration with. So what it does is that, this is a very good example of how you can actually see the different shipping options available. So I do have like UPS, USPS, FedEx, DHL. At the same time, we tell your buyers what is the potential working days involved to receive their items, and what is the potential taxes and duty as well. Right. So tracking and notification, Easyship actually provides a dashboard for you to track all your shipments from different couriers. And at the same time, we can actually enable your consignee or the buyer itself to get the emails once the label has been created. They would be able to track through the emails. It would be provided with real-time update. So assuming if you ship via FedEx, the tracking status would be same as FedEx itself, right? Because we pull the details from them. Right, so this is how Easyship fulfillment solution works. Basically, you can send your goods to our warehousing partners. At the same time, just they would pull the orders from Shopmatic itself, and the courier selection would be selected from the buyers. Our fulfillment partners would just pick your orders and pack it, and then at the same time, your customers would get notified on it, right? So this is a very simple step on a hands-free approach, whereas you do not want to do the operational side of your business. You want to just outsource it to a fulfillment center where they will be able to take care of everything, from storing your products, receiving your products, and packing your products itself, right? And all you have to do is just focus on marketing your brand or getting new products itself. So this actually helps a lot of sellers, especially when you are a small seller and you do not have the capacity to manage everything on your own itself. Fulfillment solution in Singapore, it's not that expensive. Right, so for our warehousing partner in Singapore, they do have a minimum spend of $150 a month. So that is your minimum cost itself for operations. Right, so we're actually offering a promo code to your Easyship account. So all you have to do is just take down this code. All shipments would actually get a 10% discount. Right, so for example, if you see that shipment is actually $40, we would actually provide you with a discount regardless of which courier provider, and you just get that discount itself. So it is pretty good in terms of getting your shipping solutions available. Right, so I'll do some Q&A. So I noticed that there is actually some questions available already. Right, so for Titus itself, how to ship internationally from Singapore? Okay, so for Titus, so what Shopmatic and Easyship does is that, with the plugin itself, your buyers can actually see the rates regardless of which country they are from. So we do have a few merchants, a good number of merchants, who are actually dealing with health and beauty product, right? Like masks, sanitizers, and stuff like that. So during this period, they are actually able to actually ship internationally because of the live checkout rates. So all their buyer would have to do is just select which is their preferred shipping method. So upon selection, they can actually just select it, make payment together with your product itself at checkout, right? So it is pretty simple. It is not complex. And at the same time, it is not very expensive.
Great.
I mean, it
Zach,
really depends on your product.
Zach, I'm just going to quickly interject here. This is Uma here from Shopmatic. Even as you are taking the Q&As, I'm just going to be releasing some polls as well for us to get some valuable feedback, which will help us as well as our partner here, Easyship, to offer better services. So I will just be releasing the polls. Please, I request everyone to answer the polls. Zach, please continue taking the Q&As as you're reading them off and sharing answers. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So we're just going to be, sorry, I'll just be releasing a poll which we released earlier before Zach started his presentation. We're going to be releasing it again so that people who have joined later will be able to take it. Carry on, please, Zach, now. You can carry on the Q&A, Zach.
All right, so like for Danny, what other platforms is available on Easyship? So for marketplaces, we do have Etsy, eBay, Amazon. So like for the rest, you would have to just sign up an account on Easyship. It's free to sign up, and then you can actually have a look there. So for Silva, for drop shipping Shopmatic store, is it possible to use DHL? So it really depends on where you're drop shipping from. So Easyship is we are able to ship out from Singapore, Hong Kong, USA, Canada, UK, and Australia to anywhere in the world. So it really depends on where you are looking to ship out from, right? So I mean, is DHL and FedEx the best alternative? So they are definitely the best in the market, but then their prices are pretty steep as well, right? So there are providers who can actually provide the same standard at a lower cost itself. But I mean, in terms of standard, it means like, good tracking and a pretty decent lead time, right? So as compared to DHL and FedEx, where they ship pretty much like the next day or 2 days later, it's pretty different. Right, Danny. So for Amazon Singapore, it is in progress, but you're able to actually link any other Amazon. Because for Amazon Singapore, it is pretty new at the moment. Right, so for Dominic, you're a new merchant with... Right, so Dominic, it really depends on what sort of items you're shipping. So like at Easyship itself, we do have speed post solutions. So what speed post does is that it is not based on the volumetric of the item, right? So like for large shipments itself, definitely shipping cost is expensive. But what's more expensive is that if your item is actually large but really light, right? So what speed post does is that, you know, the rates are actually calculated based on the actual weight and not the item weight itself. So this is actually pretty useful for clients who are selling large items. You know, maybe one good example is actually a hula hoop, right? So a hula hoop is pretty huge, and at the same time, it is pretty light. So products like this would be a good fit for speed post, which is actually previously known as EMS solution itself. Right. So for Stashworks itself, if you're talking about storage, they're actually a fulfillment house, so they're able to store your product for you. They're able to pack your product and fulfill your orders, right? So if, let's say, you know, your clients want to do a return, they can return back to the warehouse, and the warehouse would actually QC based on your SOP. Right. So Stashworks is actually one of our fulfillment partner. So they are able to provide you guys with fulfillment solutions. It is not part of Easyship, so payment to Stashworks would be a separate thing. But what Stashworks does is that they are actually managing a lot of our partners in Singapore itself. Right. So I think if you want to learn more about Stashworks, maybe you can just email them directly. Let me give you the email. Right, so you can just email them at hello@stashworks.co, and then, you know, you can understand more on fulfillment itself. Or if, let's say, you want to understand more on fulfillment and shipping itself, you know, feel free to reach out to us. So I would be typing out our email as well. So at the same time, you know, you guys would be able to contact us if you have any questions in terms of Easyship or how you can actually connect your Shopmatic store with Easyship as well.
Fantastic. Even as Zach is sharing us that information, I think the polls are in progress right now. We would encourage everyone to respond to the polls. This is the third poll that has actually been running for this session today. We've already completed 2 polls and we've received responses from more than 70% of the people. We encourage everyone to respond to this last poll that is in progress at this point in time, which is, what topic would you like Shopmatic to run in the future? That will help us to bring more valuable speakers and topics to your attention for future. So are there any further questions that, even as the poll is going on, that are there for Zach and his team that we can help address? Please do raise them. I think there's another new question here in Q&A. Zach, for you?
All right, so it is not compulsory to use Stashworks. As I mentioned, Stashworks is just a partner, right? So if you have an existing warehouse, you can still use your existing warehouse. However, you know, like, we would have to give your existing warehouse a quick onboarding on how they can actually generate your shipping labels on Shopmatic itself and to pack your orders from there, right? So it is possible to use your own warehouse. It is not a necessity or compulsory to use Stashworks itself. So you're able to use Easyship with Stashworks, or use Easyship with your own fulfillment partner. Or if you feel that, you know, you can manage it on your own, you can actually just use Easyship directly itself, right? So it is not like mandatory or compulsory to use our fulfillment if you want to use our platform itself.
Right.
Right. So like for those of you guys who have not yet signed up an Easyship account on your Shopmatic store itself, you know, just feel free to sign up. It is free. So I believe there is no harm in checking it out and then to understand more on the rates and stuff like that.
Wonderful. Zach, can you just put up the promo code that you were actually sharing with our participants today? Maybe that will help for those who have not captured it. Thank you. Great. So this is available for all new Easyship accounts created?
So for this itself, I would have to check, but based on my understanding, it should be applicable to all. So if
Great.
let's say, you do not get the discount, just feel free to drop us the email and I'll try to get something done for you.
Okay, so are there any further questions? I see some questions popping up again.
Yep, so it is possible to enable Easyship only for overseas shipments. So on Shopmatic itself, there is two sections, right? One is domestic, one is international. You can enable Easyship for both, or you can just enable Easyship for international itself, right? So like a lot of the clients would actually enable both because I would say like our domestic rates are pretty competitive. For domestic itself, it is next day delivery up to 5 kg at $3.99. So I would say like a lot of them would just actually enable both shipping options itself. Right, so for Amazon integration, I am not certain. Let me check on it and then I'll get back to you on it.
Okay, are there any further questions? All right, I see some chats happening. So there is a chat query here. Someone has put it there. I think let me just read it out. Hang on a second. Right. I think the query is our customers are complaining why their buyers are only seeing $3.99. Cheng here, just FYI. Is there a query which we're able to address, Zach?
Yeah, so $3.99 is inclusive of GST for domestic shipments. So that is actually via Q Express. So I would say the rates are pretty competitive for that itself. It's a pretty good deal.
It's a pretty good deal. That's what he's sharing as well. That's great. Thank you so much, Cheng, for that feedback and response. Okay. Do we have any further questions for Zach? Just to inform everyone who is a part of this. Oh, there is a question before we give some information. There's a question on chat. We would really request everyone to put the queries on Q&A, please, going forward. Okay, but the query here, if you can see it, is for overseas shipment. If it involves tax and duty, how to resolve it?
Yep. So like, okay, for taxes and duty wise, what happens is that, we try to minimize having disputes, right? Like it is very important that the buyer knows that they might have to pay taxes and duty when it arrives in their country. So we would display the potential taxes and duty amount on checkout itself, but assuming there is a dispute on it, what happens is that our CS team would reach out to you, regardless of whichever courier you use. We would reach out to you, and at the same time, we would we would ask for your advice on what would you like to do, right? Like to pay for the taxes and duty, or to return the item, or to dispose the item. So which is why, but I would say like in such scenario it's pretty rare, because like on our checkout we do show potential taxes and duty amount, right? So like the buyer would have seen it when they are selecting their preferred shipping method.
I think there's another Q&A for you, Zach.
Right, Danny. So like for API, I am not sure which one you're referring to, but for Shopmatic itself, it is relatively straightforward. You can just activate it on Shopmatic, or if let's say you have an existing Easyship account, go under Connect, and then you can select Shopmatic. And then you would be able to see the API token itself. Just copy that and paste it on your Shopmatic store, and you're done with the integration.
Fabulous. So even as we're waiting for any last questions to come through for Zach's attention, we'd just like to inform everyone who's participating in the event today that there is a recording of this event, which will be made available to all of you via our Shopmatic YouTube channel. It will be uploaded on that in a few days' time, and it will also be The link to the same will be made available to you via email from Shopmatic. So please do watch out for that. All right, so there is a question here from Sensong again regarding it seems difficult to ship battery these days. Do you have a solution for this?
Yep. So I mean, like for battery itself, it is considered a dangerous goods, right? So like battery, liquid, and actually magnetic products, they are all considered as dangerous goods. So for battery itself, it really depends on what sort of battery. So I would actually advise you to email me, because like we would have to see the MSDS, which is the material safety data sheet, before we can actually advise you on anything itself.
Okay, great. So it is a wait for a few more questions. There are a few questions that we wanted to raise as well with you, Zach, and your team. So what are the countries that we are most seeing shipping going to for e-commerce businesses here in Singapore? Would you be able to give some guidance to our participants today?
Yeah.
Where
So
they can acquire buyers? Yeah.
yeah. So I guess, like, you know, like for most people, they assume that, you know, like e-commerce itself, a lot of the buyers are from Malaysia or neighboring country. I would say that is actually not true. So we do have a lot of clients who ship a lot of shipments to the US, UK, and Australia itself. So that is actually a pretty huge market, and a lot of US buyers actually purchase from Singapore stores itself.
Right. And what, in your opinion, from a shipping, from a marketing strategy, I mean, we think it's extremely interesting to actually use shipping as a marketing strategy, right? And you showed us some examples of how ASOS does that, etc. Right? For small business owners, is there a couple of pointers that you can share with us on how it can be used as a marketing strategy? What can SMEs offer, unlike ASOS,
Right.
which is like a big platform?
Right. So I mean, like I would say you can still offer free shipping. That is one option, but it really depends on your profit margin itself. If there is enough margin after free shipping, you can go ahead. So what Easyship does is that on our platform, we allow clients to set a few rules. So the first rule is that, you know, a minimum spend, right? So you can set a minimum spend of $100 or $150.
That's interesting. Yeah,
And
that's
then you
true.
can allow a free shipping option, right? But we have one more rule. It's that assuming if the shipping cost exceeds that amount you have in mind. So for example, minimum spend of $150, you are willing to absorb 10% of it, right? Which is
Right.
$15. So assuming if any shipments cost more than $15, it would not be free shipping, but discounted shipping itself. So what this discounted shipping does is that, you know, you're pretty certain on how much you are going to cover for shipping. You're not going to get a shock of your life. So
Yeah.
like, you know, it can be really crazy at times where you provide free shipping above $150, and maybe someone in South Africa actually makes a purchase, and that
Right.
shipping costs $60.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. One of the other things that we also encourage our users on the Shopmatic platform is to use other tools available on your Shopmatic store to um, to inform your visitors, your store visitors, about these offers, especially with regards to shipping, way upfront on the homepage, and actually have announcement bars running through your website. It's a bar that is available that you can build and draw attention to right on top of your above the header, and announce free shipping or whatever it is that you're actually offering as a shipping related promotion on that. So that's something that we can offer from a product or a platform feature basis. We do have a couple of other questions for you here, Zach. What would
Yep.
be the reason for a shipping fee to be much higher than what the buyer paid? So I think one you mentioned was the location, if it is unusual
Right.
zone.
There is a few reasons involved. The
Okay.
first option, it's the first reason is actually there might be residential surcharge. That is the first. The second reason is that, you know, the weight and dimensions were not input on Shopmatic itself correctly, right? So if that item weighs 1 kg, but then on Shopmatic itself, if you place it as 300 grams, we are going to display the shipping rates as 300 grams.
That's right. Yes.
And that
Accuracy.
that
Yeah.
that is the discrepancy in terms of shipping price itself.
Actually, that's very good input. Yeah.
Yep. So the next question is there any insurance coverage? So I would say insurance coverage actually is subjective based on the courier provider you selected. But what Easyship does is that we actually enable you to purchase third-party insurance. So what this third-party insurance does is that it can be embedded into your shipping cost. So for example, if your client purchased your item at $100, shipping cost is $10.
Mm-hmm.
The insurance is actually 1.5% off $110, right? So you can actually imbue that in. It will be displayed on your shipping cost as maybe $17. So what happens is that your client actually purchased for full insurance coverage upon checkout on your behalf or on their behalf as well, right? So that item is fully protected in an event where it's lost or it's damaged.
Right, right. It's a very small price to pay, really, to have that assurance. Nice. We see that Shaiful Lee has raised his hands. Whatever your query is, we request you to please raise it in the Q&A channel, Shaiful. That will be easier for us to address in that case. Okay. All right, we're just going to give a minute for any last minute questions. I'm going to use this minute as we're waiting for Q&A to thank you, Zach, for the wonderful webinar session today. As always, we always enjoy having the Easyship team taking on these webinars for our Shopmatic merchants. They're always very interactive, they're always very informative, and as it has been today as well. And we do know that as an offering, Easyship integration offers one of the best services with respect to shipping and logistics solutions for our customers by making it an extremely valuable proposition for them as merchants to offer to their buyers by giving options on the best value, the cheapest value, or the fastest value, sort of shipping solution to their buyers, and thereby really making their buyers, feel more special and loyal and bring them back to the merchant. So in that sense, we really think the integration with Easyship is fantastic. We encourage everyone here in the webinar today, if you have not already integrated Easyship as a logistic partner on your Shopmatic store, please do log in back to your Shopmatic store today and create an account and do the integration. It's just a very few clicks to get it going. And then you're sure to be delighted with the service that you get from the Easyship team with respect to this integration as well. So thank you so much, Zach. Once again, we look forward to hosting you again very soon on the Shopmatic webinars to bring on more topics and more valuable information on how shipping can really make a difference in e-commerce, especially for SMEs and individual e-commerce operators. So I don't see there are any further questions that are coming our way here. So we're going to close the webinar in about a minute or so, just to make sure that there is absolutely no last minute questions coming our way. Once again, the recording of this webinar will be made available to everyone who's registered as well as who's participated in the event today. So do watch out for it in your emails. As you are leaving this event, you will also find a survey form regarding this particular webinar. Please do take a minute. It's barely two questions, I think, that will help us to get some valuable feedback from you on this webinar so that we can share that with our partner as well as use it to improve future webinar experiences on Shopmatic. So please do that. So yes, just thank you so much, Zach and team.
Yep, always a pleasure. So thanks everyone for being here. Just feel free to drop us an email if you have any questions. And I wish you guys all a good night.
Good night. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you.